Here lies Polaroid Spectra film. It leaves behind a most fervent fan base of artists. Once risen from the dead, it was thenceforth killed once more. Roll the intro.
The kind of photography that would become part of the human being. Press a button and have the picture.
Welcome to In an Instant. My name is Ben, and today's Instant Breakdown takes a look at the beautiful life of Polaroid Spectra film and its violent, sorrowful death with swirling controversy around its demise. At first, I didn't think I was going to make a video about the situation. Polaroid announced they'd stopped making the film for technical reasons. I understood why. I thought, well, that sucks. And then I drank some apple juice and went to sleep. But then I woke up and saw swarms of anguishing Spectra users crying foul and using inappropriate language, which I would never f***ing do on the internet. Even with distance from the initial announcement, I hear almost daily criticism of Polaroid for, quote, what they've done, which apparently has driven some people to stop shooting instant film altogether. Oh, sorry, that's just my drama queen alert system. Anyway, this obviously requires a closer look. If you're sitting there wondering what the big deal is or why people adore this format so much, wonder no further. I got you. Spectra debuted in the mid to late 80s as a wider integral film alternative to the famous Polaroid Square. Though Polaroid later introduced the smaller Captiva and iZone films, Spectra is the only secondary offering that survived through the Impossible Project and Polaroid Originals era. Through a long period where Polaroid 600 cameras were getting simpler and more budget-friendly, Spectra hardware was smarter, inching back toward the SX70 standard. These things were built like tanks and featured an array of unique controls for the advanced user, on top of its far superior lenses which rocked 10-zone autofocus. The last Spectra camera came out in 2004, marking the 15th release in the beloved camera line. And here he is, the 15th release, the final boy. Here's a few shots I've taken with the Spectra 1200 camera. You can really see that sharpness and latitude afforded by the wide frame. I also busted out the SLR 680 so you can take a side-by-side look at how the specs hold up to the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Sharpness and color rendition are superb, even as we approach the 1-year shelf life of the last Spectra batch produced. This camera has a friggin' LCD screen on it, the only Polaroid camera ever with one of those, but it kind of looks like a horror movie, so I don't ever use that. It's kind of frightening. You might be asking, Ben, I thought you said there were technical problems that forced Polaroid to discontinue the format. Well, I'm getting to that, Jesus. Sorry. The spectrum of Spectra malfunctions varies dramatically from model to model. As you can see with these Spectra shots I took with the first camera released in the product line, there are a lot more problems. Pod failures, ejection issues, looking like I dropped the film into radioactive goop. I'll spare you from reading the entire statement from Polaroid CEO Oscar Smolakowski and their head of manufacturing Andrew Billen, but in summary, tons of people were having ejection problems with the Spectra film, like a majority of people. Oscar said that jamming and hardware breakdowns were not something they could influence with the film. And Billen explained that after 6 months of testing, they determined faults were totally random. Servicing the cameras and producing the film was something no longer feasible for the company to do. I really didn't question this initially, but after talking with a former Polaroid employee and randomly bringing this up in conversation, like, damn, this is sad, huh? It turns out there is a little bit more to the story. Polaroid Originals had been strongly considering nixing Spectra for well over a year, and Spectra posed a huge inconvenience for their production lines, which required a dedicated machine to make. This meant to produce Spectra film was time lost producing more 600 and I-type film, which are, without question, more profitable film stocks for them. Personally, I totally understand this. Polaroid is obviously a business, and frankly, I feel fortunate they even exist at all. Given how tenuous this analog world is, where we're now trained to know this entire industry could vanish in a day, I kind of want them to remove whatever financial burdens are putting them at risk. But fans of Polaroid Spectra are particularly angry because they don't buy the explanation that the cameras are to blame. Polaroid film is thicker than film of the past, resulting in only 8 shots fitting into cartridges versus the original 10-shot packs, or even some 12-shot packs only the Spectra offered. This thicker film is causing motors on Spectra cameras to jam, so you can't really blame the camera for that. Further evidence is that Spectra cameras can eject the dark slide of old film and new film with the same ease, but it's when the new photos eject from the updated packs that malfunctions occur. Most avid fans of the wider format claim the company's giving up, instead of actively making film thinner, getting packs to 10 shots, and therefore benefiting all of their film stocks and saving Spectra in the process. Look, I get it. The death of an instant film format by a company founded on the principle that nothing is impossible is ironic and sad. People see this as a betrayal of the core drive which propelled the amazing people at the Impossible Project to revive this whole thing in the first place. Saying, I give up, doesn't sound quite right out of the folks who fought tooth, nail, and film pick to bring Polaroid back from the dead. But let's be real, this is not a charity. I think we can all agree here, Spectra was just not profitable. If it was, they had figured it out, maybe. It was always their most niche film stock besides 8x10, so while seeing it die is a sad chapter in the story, it's a sacrifice the market demanded. It doesn't make it any less painful though, and I fully understand you. Your emotions are valid, and this is a safe space. Thank you for watching in an instant. Go ahead and drop a coffin filled with Spectra cameras onto that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more reviews, breakdowns, and all things instant. Bye. Can't cry on camera.